Hey guys, my name is Spencer Gray. I serve with FCA in the Greater Charlotte area, and I'm excited to do this devotional with you guys for Golgotha. Let's dive right in to Matthew 26, verses 57 to 68. It says, "Then those who had seized Jesus led him to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the scribes and the elders had gathered. And Peter was following him at a distance as far as the courtyard of the high priest. And going inside, he sat with the guards to see the end. Now the chief priests and the whole council were seeking false testimony against Jesus that they might put him to death. But they found none, though many false witnesses came forward. At last, two came forward and said, 'This man said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and to rebuild it in 3 days.' And the high priest stood up and said, 'Have you no answer to make? What is it that these men testify against you?' But Jesus remained silent. And the high priest said to him, 'I adjure you by the living God, tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God.' Jesus said to him, 'You have said so, but I tell you, from now on you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power, coming on the clouds of heaven.' And the high priest tore his robes and said, 'He has uttered blasphemy. What further witnesses do we need? You have now heard the blasphemy. What is your judgment?' They answered, 'He deserves death.' Then they spit in his face and struck him, and some slapped him, saying, 'Prophesy to us, you Christ. Who is it that struck you?'" Now there is so much that we could pull from this passage, and I'm going to just give some concise points. One of them being, this is a sham of a council, right? They are holding this trial, one of many that Jesus will experience at night. It's illegal for the Jews to have trial at night. If you didn't finish your trial during the day, you would have to wait until the morning. So we already know we're starting off on a bad foot. Plus, they're having to find false witnesses against Christ. They don't even have a leg to stand on. They have to find people to lie. This is also illegal in Jewish law. If you were to lie in court, that brought you death. It was punishable by death, which is ironic because we know that they are going to lie their way to Jesus's death, ultimately. But I want to jump down to verse 63. I think this is one of the most important parts of this passage. It says, "But Jesus remained silent." Guys, this part right here was prophesied hundreds of years ago by the prophet Isaiah. We can read it in Isaiah 53:7. It says, "He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. Like a lamb that is led to the slaughter, and like a sheep that before its shearers is silent, so he opened not his mouth." To the very end, right? Through every aspect of this, Jesus, he doesn't stop him, right? He could say that he is the Son of God and that he's to be freed and he is not guilty. But no, he goes right to the slaughter, silent, knowing that this was the will of God. Now, how can we pull from this, right? Well, what can we learn from this? Well, it's important to remember that this is in a Jewish context, right? This is in a time that is very different from ours. But I think we can insert that we are the Jews. We would hear truth. I'm sure we have in our past. We heard truth, and our instinct, our inclination was to deny. Some of us, maybe even to mock those who were telling us the truth, right? We have spit in Jesus' face if we have ever denied his deity, if we ever rejected his gospel, if we have ever preferred our own righteousness to laying down our righteousness. We have mocked and humiliated Jesus before. And I think what's interesting about doing Golgotha is we can replicate the physical agony that he experienced to some degree. I think we fall way short, but we'll never be able to fully replicate the full humiliation Jesus bore for us, right? This was all for our sake. He made him to be sin who knew no sin, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. What a gift this passage is, because it should remind us of our sin, and then we should look to the one who took on our sin on our behalf.